Hi everyone, welcome to my new diecast conversion project. This time I will try to do 1990s Buick Regal. This is a monogram model kit. The only thing I will need in this kit will be the rear of the car, the rear part of the car, and the front nose. The important thing you have to remember when you do a conversion like that is to find a car that have a similar shape. From there, I'm gonna cut the front of the car and the rear of the car and glue together this front end in front of this car. Another thing that is important is the width of the car have to be the same. As you can see there, they are pretty similar. This car has been already unassembled. Another thing that is important, I always keep the front peg to be able to screw back the body on the chassis. Same for the rear, there and there. So always important when you cut your front end to cut before the peg without cutting it. So let's begin this new project. As you can see here, the car is squeezed and ready to be cut. I always use towel on the side of the car just to make sure that I don't make any mark or dent in the metal. And I'm gonna cut the front here with the standard grinder with a metal disc. So I'm gonna cut it and come back after. This is the result after the cut. Here when you bring the new front, you can see that the width is very similar. Now as you're gonna see, when I bring my front here, I can push it where it's supposed to go. But when I release it, they pop out automatically. So this part has to leave because, as you can see, the new front don't go enough further back because the front is stopped by those two corners. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut both sides with the same grinder and see after what it's gonna look like. Here's the result with the front all cut. Now I push my front where is supposed to go. From there I mark on the side where I need to finish to cut. So I'm gonna cut this part here on both sides. Okay, now that my front have been cut, as you can see where my mark was, I'm gonna try to put the front at the right place on both sides, ear and ear. As you can see, the front is placed well. So I already did it. I'm gonna flip the car over, and as you can see there, I mark by the inside where I need to cut the bumper, the plastic bumper. So when it's gonna be cut, it's supposed to fit on the side of this one, of the metal body. So from there, the front should be close to be fit. Now that my front fit on the car, I put some duct tape just to hold the front in place. And from there, I just put the hood where it's supposed to go, and from there I will just mark where the front of the hood finished, as I already did here, and from there I will know where I need to cut my front to make sure that the hood's gonna fit with the new front end. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this front part. The front of the plastic Model 1 have been cut all the way through, following the mark that I did earlier with the hood on. Now, as you can see, if I close the hood, I'm pretty damn close from where I should be. So at this point, the plastic front will be ready to be glued on the metal die-cast body. Here is where I'm gonna put some epoxy glue on both sides, and I will also put it there where the plastic front joined the die-cast model. So I'm now ready to start the rear of the car. So what I'm gonna do is cut the rear bumper here all the way through, and I will cut also the plastic body, all the side and the rear of the donor car. So I'm gonna cut this one and came back with for the plastic Model 1 to show you how I did it. Okay, now the rear has been cut. Like for the front of the car, you always need to keep the post on both sides to make sure that when you're gonna came with your on the car, that the boat's gonna still be at the same place, so the car is gonna be sturdier. Now for the plastic Model 1, oops, I will need all the rear of the car to put back on the Lumina, and on the side, as you can see there, one is shorter than the other one, so I will need to custom made some side skirt for the bumper. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut all the way around here, and prepare this rear to be glued on this one. As you can see here, the rear of the plastic car have been cut. This is the part I'm going to use on the Lumina. The thing is, Lumina have a different shape for the trunk because of the fender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the part of the trunk on the plastic model. This way I'm going to be able to just bring this up here on both sides. So the rear of the plastic car is going to be the same width as the die-cast model, and from there I'm gonna thin on the edge the plastic to make sure that the rear is gonna be just almost the same as the metal body, because as you can see, the plastic model have a more curved rear end. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut this part, and came back to show you what I want to say with thinning this plastic. Here it is. So as I mentioned, I cut this part, and from there I've used my Dremel to just thin the plastic as thin as I can without cutting those part of the quarter panel. So at this point, if you check, I just want to, just wait a second. I'll place this back up. As you can see on both sides, the rear is almost the same on the plastic Model 1 as for the die-cast. So this part's going to be ready to be glued. Now that why I didn't cut those parts is because for the proportion, I keep those to know where I need to bring my quarter back down. So I'm gonna use this width to finish the quarter panel on the Lumina. So for the rear now, I'm gonna be ready to glue it on the car. For this part and all around here, I'm gonna use Bondo to make the finishing between both parts. Okay, now I use some tape just to hold the plastic rear on the metal body. I figured another problem with this conversion is, the problem is when I drop back the rear of the car, as you can see, since I cut the rear bumper of the original Lumina, the back end of the car is too long for the body. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, just after the post here is where the frame is too long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out of the chassis of the car. And from there I'm going to be able to start my quarter panel. For the quarter panel part, I've always used this styrene sheet that you can buy in any Hobby Lobby or any hobby shop. So I have already a part cut. So what I'm going to do is measure the height of the side that I need to add to the body, and I'm going to cut it straight up with the scissors, standard scissor. And when I'm going to glue with the epoxy the back there, I will also put a tape back and put some epoxy in front and on the back of the side quarter panel. There it is. So on both sides I did those side skirt. Like I told before, I finished my side skirt at the same height as the rear of the car is supposed to go. If you see, here's the part, here's the place where the rear is supposed to go. So the height is the same. So at this point, I will cut those two quarter panel part because I don't need it anymore. And from there, I'm gonna have to strip the paint on the car before gluing everything, the front and the rear of the car, because if I don't remove the paint first and I glue the front on the car, when I'm gonna sand the car or use some paint stripper after, I can affect the plastic texture. So we don't want to damage any plastic part. So I'm gonna remove the paint, glue all the pieces together, and show you the result after that. So that's it for part 1 of this custom diecast. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned if you want to see part 2 of this project. It should be on air soon. Thank you very much and see you next time.